Hi, this is really weird. I've never done this before. I built the 110 acre farm in The Sims 4, and this is the speed build of me making it. This is really awkward. I don't know how people do this, like, professionally. Just talking to themselves. It's very odd. Anyway, bit of a disclaimer. This is not going to be 100% accurate, so please do not, expect one-to-one scale and, perfection, because if you aren't familiar with The Sims 4, it is not a perfect game, and it is actually really, really annoying sometimes when you're trying to build something from real life, because it just never works the way you want it to. So, with that being said, I took a lot of creative liberties, let's say, with reality. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean. I kind of just went rogue at parts, and most of this I kind of did from like the top of my head, from like memory. Obviously I used bits from the vlogs, especially like the drone shots, to like see the overall like which buildings were where and the shapes of things, but other than that I basically, as I went along, just went off the top of my head, and there is definitely parts where it's not very accurate to real life. For instance, I used a staircase rather than a ladder because The Sims does have ladders, but they are kind of annoying to use and they don't look very good. So I said, nah, I use a staircase. Sorry. Oh, I feel really awkward doing this. Oh, right. And now I've already run out of things to yap about. Basically, I've watched like probably hundreds of Sims speed build videos on YouTube by now. And what I've learned from watching them is that you basically just yap, and it doesn't even matter if you're yapping about what's happening in the speed build because you can just yap. It's a long time to talk, especially when there's no one talking back to you, so this is really weird. This is me building the HQ. As you can see, I included the fridge for the snacks and the drinks, mostly drinks. Monster. It's the monster fridge, but it's not a monster fridge. It should be a monster fridge. Disregard most of what I did down there because I ended up coming back and changing it because I actually started this build months ago, and then stopped because I was finding it like really annoying and really frustrating to try and make it the way I wanted it to be. And in that time, they released a new Sims pack, which was full of like workshop stuff, including like the exact toolbox that Tom has in the HQ. So I eventually came back and basically redid the entire HQ. So ignore most of this. I did cut out a big chunk of it, but Anyway, this is me now moving on to the gatehouse. I decided to sort of imagine what the gatehouse might look like when it's completed, when it's built. Obviously, I don't know what it's going to look like. Originally, I sort of decorated it in like a very old style, as you just saw there for a second, in like an old country house vibe. But I didn't really like it, and I know that that's not really the plan. The plan is to have it sort of modern-ish on the inside, so I do go back in a second and redo it, and I really like the way it turned out actually. But I did, let's say by choice, I chose not to include a bathroom. Was that choice influenced by the fact that I forgot to put a bathroom in until I'd finished it? Yes. But anyway, let's not talk about that. I found the perfect item in The Sims, which is the orange bucket, and naturally I was like, it's a B&Q bucket, we're going to make a tower. So I made a little tower of B&Q buckets, and honestly it's probably my favourite part of the entire build because I think it's really funny. And that's the Defender. It's the wrong colour. Again, The Sims is not a perfect game. You can't choose the colours you have. You have a very limited number of options of colours for things, and so the Defender could be green or blue or red, I think, and I chose green. I don't know, it's a vibe. Here's me adding holes to the roof of the asbestos sheds because it's got a lot of holes in it in real life, so I thought I'd be accurate. And then I decided to go over and do a bit of landscaping. Basically, I was procrastinating doing the static because I knew it was going to be a nightmare, and it was. So there's going to be a lot of times where I look like I'm about to start doing the static and then I change my mind and do something else. So there I did some landscaping, and now I'm doing some terrain painting, which is not my finest job at terrain painting. Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought there. But yeah, now I decided to come back and this is where I redid the entire gatehouse. I went for a very modern sort of thing. I kept the stone walls. They ended up disappearing because I accidentally like changed them, but I do change them back in the end. And I did like some nice wood. That wood colour, I think it looks really cool, and some, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm talking absolute rubbish. This is the little kitchen. I did white counters because I thought it looked quite nice and modern, but also still kind of farmy because it's still that wooden vibe. I don't know. This is really embarrassing. And this is me struggling with curtains, which if you've played The Sims and built in The Sims, putting curtains on windows is like the ninth circle of hell. It is so annoying and really difficult, and just most of the time if I'm building in The Sims I don't put curtains in, but I thought I'd really push the boat out with this because, you know, I wanted to be proud of this build, which took me a ridiculously long time to complete. I don't have the exact time, but I will say that the speed build, once I'd sped up the footage to 8 times the original speed, came to about 40 minutes. So times that by 8. And that's how long it took me to do this whole build. And even that's not all of it, because there's parts that I didn't actually record. I just did it like off camera, you know. Where was I? Oh yes, the TV. I was so excited when I found that frame TV with the pumpkin picture, and then I remembered that basket I'd already picked out with the blankets and the pillows had a pumpkin swatch as well, so I was like, yes, pumpkins, let's go, it's on theme. I was very excited. It doesn't take much to make me happy, as you can tell. Here I decided to add in Lydia's beautiful white cup, and I had a real fun time trying to figure out what I wanted to put on this table and make it all fit together, but we got there in the end. We move. In this little corner I just put a little bookshelf. I think that's a really nice bookshelf actually. I'd love that in real life. And I added in lots of plants for Tom and Lydia to kill, to be honest. They're fake plants, obviously. And then in the kitchen I added in a table. In my head, like, I did add in a little nod to Alfie. That's you probably missed it, but there was a little monster truck I put on the shelf there. But The Sims has really ugly kids furniture, and it just wasn't gonna fit my vibe, and I knew that from the start. So I was like, I'm not gonna put in like toddler furniture or toys or anything. So either pretend they're all like hidden away and organised really well by Lydia, of course, or that by the time the gatehouse is completed, Alfie is like 17 years old, because that could also be the case. Sorry. I added in another water bottle here. This one's Tom's bottle. You know, you got Lydia's little water bottle and Tom's water bottle. Very cute, very nice. And then I added in some pictures on the walls. I had to use the sheep pictures and the little farm buildings. And those pictures I chose because they're like old-fashioned, and in my mind they're like the old pictures that Tom had from the previous owners of the farm that he said he was going to like frame and put up. So I thought that was cute. I decided to add this little bonfire from Alfie's first birthday party, and obviously we had some barbecues from stoves and stuff. There's so many little like Easter eggs. Not really Easter eggs, but like little like nods to different things from the vlogs. And then I decided I was going to add in some stuff that I needed a sim for, so I was like, of course I'm going to make Tom in The Sims. I started out like, oh, let's make it look like Tom in real life, and then I remembered I'm really bad at making Sims. So instead I just thought I'll roast him a little bit and give him massive ears and orange hair. You know, gotta do what you can. I gave him nice traits though. His traits are likes the outdoors, outgoing, and bro, which I think is quite accurate. There's also childish, which I thought about adding, but I went with bro. And this is just Tom adding all the sheep. Those sheep did not last long actually, because I didn't feed them or like take care of them in any way while I was doing stuff in live mode, so they all decided to leave. So then I had to replace the sheep with more sheep for my like screenshots at the end. But anyway, let's not worry about that. Obviously I'm adding in the pumpkins on the pumpkin patch, and this took so long and was so annoying because I had to go through every single one individually to like water them and fertilise them and make them grow, which is not fun. Yeah, finally we're actually starting on the static caravan. And again, it's not going to be accurate to real life. I was going to try and make the like floor plan accurate with the 2 bedrooms, and it just wasn't going to fit without it being huge. So it's got 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. At least this one has a bathroom, because the gatehouse doesn't. So yeah, here's me again, just working on the pumpkins, actually feeding the sheep, but they were still upset with me, so they ended up deciding to leave and I had to replace them. I found it really hard actually to do the inside of the static. I did have to go back to some of Lydia's vlogs and like remind myself what it looks like, because it's been so long since like anyone's been in the static. That's not me being like throwing shade or anything, it's just, you know. So I kind of went rogue with the layout. I kind of stuck to the general areas where the kitchen is and where the seats are, but it's not very accurate to real life. But that's fine, because it's The Sims. It's a game. It's a bit of fun. Leave me alone. Get off my back. Oh, I need to. That's so embarrassing. God. I added in the little fireplace, some stoves and stuff, of course. A little dining area. Cute little table. I found it so hard to add like clutter and decorations in here. Mostly because what you have in The Sims, there's just not a lot of it, and most of the stuff you can add for decoration is going to be plants, and at a certain point there's just too many plants, so I had to I left some bits empty, and you know, just it's not a work in progress, but it's one of those. It's not perfect, but I think I'm quite happy with how it turned out in the end. I'm just doing the bathroom now, adding in the shower, toilet. Cute little shelf. I love that like wood tone, that really light wood colour. I think it looks so good in The Sims. For the bedroom, again, like I could have tried to make it so there's like space for like Alfie, and it just wasn't. I wouldn't have had enough room, and the furniture for toddlers in The Sims is ugly. So again, this is an imaginary world where Alfie's 17. Because that's how long it's going to take to build the house. I'm joking. I'm probably not even that far off. Just doing decorations. I put a little sort of seat under the television. Gosh, the TV, just because. Oh, this little cute. It's actually not a footrest. It's like a little stool that sheep, but I decided to make it look more like a side table, and I put the little lamp on it because I thought that was nice. More of me struggling with curtains because this game is a hellhole. Just adding little details. It's really hard to talk about a Sims build that you spent hours on. I don't have anything to say. But yeah, I just had to add in the little chicken. You know, when we finally get some chickens on the farm, that's a little nod to one day soon, maybe. I added in a cute little rug. I wanted to go for a rug that I feel like Lydia would actually choose in real life, so I wanted something like a bit patterned and florally, but still kind of white cream tone. So yeah, so I thought a bit more. There's going to be a lot of landscaping to come, because this is like, I think this is the biggest lot you can get in The Sims. I think it's 64 by 64, and even that is not big enough to do the whole. For 110, I could only do the main like courtyard bit and the buildings that you see most in the vlogs. And still filling up that space was a nightmare. This corner bit, I had no idea what to put, because I think in real life it drops off into a ravine. I could be wrong, and I couldn't make that in The Sims. So I decided to make some kind of like muck pile thing, like just pile of like dirt and rubble. It ends up looking a bit like a baked bean. I tried my best to make it look not weird, and I don't really know how well I did, but I got to a point with it where I just gave up. And here, just then, I was adding in the welding equipment in the HQ, just, you know, don't forget your gloves. I feel like I'm just using this build as an excuse to roast Tom at every moment. It's a loving roast. I mean it with love, of course. Oh, I found this in debug. It's like this not broken, but like rustic, let's say, wall, and I decided to use it for like the whole like edge of the lot to sort of make it look a bit more finished, and it does actually match the walls that are in the world around the lot. So it's like that balance between making it look like real life and also making it look good in The Sims, which I've talked about loads now. It's also, I think, kind of a nod to the fact that the other part of the farm that I couldn't include in this build, but we have seen in the vlogs, does have the like stone walls in places, sort of like where the train bridge, the railway bridges and everything. And also it just looks good. And even though it was really, really annoying to place because I had to dig through debug every time, and because I'd used terrain tools, pieces of it would float and it looked really silly, so then I'd have to go back to like edit the terrain, and then I'd have to go back into debug and search through debug again to find it. It was... Luckily lucky for you guys, I cut most of that process out because it was really tedious to live and also tedious to watch, so you're welcome. I lived it. It was not fun. But it was worth it, 'cause I think it looks really cute. Just doing the little entrance now. I decided to put a little gate at the front where sort of you would come into the farm. And back here, I did mention this before, but I put a pond in. There is kind of the remnants, let's say, of a pond in that gap between the gatehouse and the HQ. Obviously it's not a full pond at this moment in time, but maybe one day. And also it's kind of a little nod to the fact that there was also a sinkhole found in that area as well, so maybe one day the hole will grow and become a big pond. I wasn't gonna just put more sinkholes in this Sims build. I feel like one was enough. Yeah, just finishing off this is where I really struggled with the terrain and things floating on it, and this baked bean man was just not my favourite part of the build, let's say. It was just adding in some lights and just doing a bit of terrain paint, and then I basically dug through debug and spent a good chunk of time putting down trees and bushes and flowers. And I have a difficult relationship with landscaping in The Sims because I find it really boring, and if I do a build, the last thing I want to do is landscape it. I usually just leave it on like a blank, empty lot, and it looks really silly. But I really tried this time, and I actually found it quite therapeutic because I was like landscaping and I had like a YouTube video on in the background. I was actually watching Orion's vlogs while I was doing this, catching up. Shout out. And yeah, I think it turned out really pretty. Annoyingly, when I did the like live mode like clips that you'll see at the end of this video, it was spring in game, but the like plants hadn't come through yet, so it was very like brown and they all looked a bit dead. So I was like, I put all that like time and effort in to landscape it, and then in game it looks a bit. Anyway, I added in fairy lights here. I was really, really excited when I found these in debug. I was like, yes, they're perfect. I'm gonna put them like on the tree and at the entrance, like in real life. That I think is probably my favourite detail of this whole build, is the fairy lights. I think they look so cute. And again, I don't really know. There's not much I can say. I'm adding flowers. I'm adding grass. I'm landscaping. But yeah, actually this is probably a good time now that I am just literally landscaping in the video. I wanted to build this pretty much since Tom announced and showed us the 110. I was like, this is so cool, I really want to make this in The Sims. But it was a very daunting task. This took me a long time, and I knew it was going to take me a long time. But I'm really glad I actually did it because I really had fun with it. And I'm glad I made a video out of it, even though I feel so awkward doing voiceover because I am not a YouTuber at all, nor do I wish to be. But no, it's really fun. I've watched Tom's vlogs since like back when Tom still lived in LA, and I've been a fan of Tom's content since around the time with Maya Night and Hunting Optic, and even Trinity Island, episode 3, if you know, you know. And recently I've just loved seeing Tom's family grow with Alfie and seeing all the progress with the farm. It's almost like living vicariously through Tom and his family. It's just amazing. I even recently started watching the vlogs with my mum, She always asks if there's a Tom vlog to watch when we sit down to eat, and at this point we joke that she feels like Alfie, the Boosk, is her virtual grandchild, since none of her actual children will give her one. So yeah, I just wanted to make the 110 in The Sims as a bit of fun, and to sort of, you know, celebrate how amazing it's been recently watching the vlogs, and how good the content's been. Yeah, so I think that's probably about all the time we've got left in this speed build. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, give us a like, and stick around till the end to see some of the more detailed shots of the build. I'm really proud of it. And if you enjoyed it, I don't know, I might link my Twitch in the description. And follow me over there, I might do some builds on Twitch, I don't know. Goodbye!